Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jamie, Cruising the Land channel, and today I want to share with you solar panels. So those of you that are using this off-road, off-grid, camping, you name it, what's the best one, right? They're priced different. Not all solar panels are created equal. They're monocrystalline, but some of them have the Maxeon Gen 3, which I'll go over in a second, which is just better in not ideal conditions. Because we're going to test, we have full sun today, Southern California, and it's like summertime, so we're getting max, and it's right about noon. That's Otis if you follow the channel. There's United Nations. Yeah, I'm a Land Cruiser gearhead. Love my Land Cruisers. And set up the awning to kind of create a, true condition. You're at camp. You want to juice up some of your favorite accessories. For me, again, this is 18 to 40 watts. So you're powering things like not a big Bluetti or Jackery or EcoFlow, big battery pack storage. You are powering, your accessories. Like this is my favorite light. It's upside down, but that's a Light Ranger 2000. Best light out there. I'll have a link for them and a 10% off. OutTask, this light I love for inside, the vehicle, the tent, barbecuing at home. So even at my office, I use this and I put it on the yellow light. So this is an awesome light. Whole video about that, same thing. I'll put a link to this. But powering these, which we're about to do with these different devices. So let's start left to right. This is the Devos 20 watt, 18 watt. The NestOut, which is 28 watt, and then SunJack 40 watt. So do you need a 40 over an 18? Will the 18 perform as good as the 40? Who knows? That's what we're about to find out. So I have a Light Ranger 2000 right here. So we're going to start with this one, and I got a trusty handy dandy little gauge. So we're going to look at the volts, the amps, and the wattage that we're getting on these different devices. Again, on an ideal sunny day in Southern California. And then we're going to follow up in the same video. I will do a earlier morning overcast, what these will do, because you know what, weather doesn't always cooperate when you're on the trail, and you might have clouds, so you want to know which one is going to juice up your gear. This one here is the multi-cam, brand new from Bugout. Love this thing. It's a lot more powerful than these, but this is kind of like your mid-range between like the 20 to 40 watt and the 200 and 400 watt. This is a 130, so stay tuned. I'll talk about that near the end of the video. All right, so this has a cool little attachment made for the Devos. This can power up other USB-C type devices that you can plug directly into, but voila, you pop it on top. Their new version that they have already has a tilt, but guess what? If you got the old version, you just tilt your stand, to best accommodate direction of the sun. Most of these panels need to be, at a 90 degree or, perpendicular, if you will. So it is facing the sun, getting full sun glare on them. But not all of them. Some of them perform well at any angle. So that's what we're going to test. So I'm going to plug this one in. Give me a second. We're going to attach our little meter here, and we will check out what type of power this is putting out. All right, so there is the 20 watt potential from Devos. In full sun, we got almost 1 amp, 4.6 volts. So you multiply those together, it's giving us just over 4 watts. Not great. There we go, volt, amps, watts. Not so good. What's interesting now, you see still about 5 watts, but look at how the amps dropped and the watts are much higher. Well, it's because I've attached it to the OutTask versus attaching to this light. So still 5 watts is what this panel is giving out, but different watts, different amps for each of these. So pretty interesting. And now we'll try another panel. And again, another reading. I unplugged, plugged in again, replaced. So still getting us, if you see the red number, 4.4 watts. Look at the blue number to the left. That's the milliamp hours, 726. So 726, if you think about that, and let's just assume it's 10,000, well, that's going to take what, 14 hours? 13, 14 hours at this rate to be able to charge this up in full, assuming it's 10,000 milliamp hours. That's a long time for a 20 watts. So if you really have all day and you can reposition and move it and just get it in direct sun, and this is not a cloudy day, this is going to take a lot of time. So is the 20 watt, I love Devos, I love the Devos Light, but the 20 watt to me is just not going to cut it. So let's check out the others. All right, next up, I've got the dark energy. So dark energy is 18 watts, so it's 2 watts less. I'm sitting it atop, just because the way this little meter is, the input has to be plugged directly to the unit giving the power. So I'm sitting it on top of that because it's working out perfect, right on the edge of a shadow here, so I can get a reading underneath. So you can see a method to the madness. Let's see here. And we're upside down. There we go. So the reading on this one, wow, look at the volts. We got over an amp. We're at 8.7 volts, and that's 9 watts. So oddly enough, this dark energy being 2 watts less, and that's powering the OutTask. Let me switch it over to the Devos light. So there we go. It's giving double the power, and it's 18 watt. Again, not all panels are created equal. Let me get underneath again. And there's the numbers to give you an idea of the milliamp hours, you know, volts, watts, and what have you. So the dark energy is charging it a lot quicker. All right, next up, taking almost the same amount of square footage, is the 28 watt NestOut. And remember, this is not just mono-crystalline, which all these panels are, but this is the Maxeon. I don't know if it's a Gen 2, I don't think it's Gen 3, but let's get underneath here and see how much power it's putting out. So this panel has its own reading, but let's rely on the same reading we're using for everything else. And look at the amps. Amps are huge on this one, resulting in some our best yet. So it's 28, right? So far this is a bigger panel than everything else, but check that out. The amps, again, being a great multiplier there of the volts. And that's going into the OutTask Light. Best results thus far. Okay, and now our largest panel. I had to get a little creative here to get it sitting nice, getting that sun. So let's check underneath. Yeah, hang on a sec. Okay, amps at 2, the watts are really good. So look at that. 18. So it's 40 watts, right? This is double what the Devos is. This is more than double the dark energy. So you're getting 18 watts out of the SunJack. Okay, as expected, again, this is a larger panel. This is a 40 watt. So let's compare the panels side by side size-wise in the shade here, and kind of look at our numbers. All right, so let's go over the sizes here. And before I do, when you saw those multiplications, you always have the volts times the amps equals the wattage. We always focus on the wattage number, but just to kind of give you an analogy, and let's compare it to water, like coming down a river. The volts is going to be the pressure, like how much pressure is coming through. So the higher the volts, the more pressure pushing. The amps is going to be the flow, like how much water, the flow rate is coming through. And then the watts is going to be the total volume, you know, the power of those two, the pressure and how much water. So a tsunami is going to be big, right? Tons of flow, tons of pressure. A calm, lazy river is going to be maybe lower volts, like not as much pressure and not as much volume coming through. And then a raging river like rapids is going to be high on both, giving lots of power, right? Raging, that's why, you know, dams, they're pushing water through, creating raging water to create energy. So that's what those layman terms would be, because I don't want to go, you know, nerd and geek out on you on power generating. Okay, so this is the Devos, just to give you an idea of size. So as far as convenience, at 99 bucks, you know, clips onto this. So if you're getting it just for the Devos Light, it's not a bad alternative, and something that you're going to leave out for 14 hours to charge that light, just one light. This is the dark energy. So this is probably the most robust. Like, you can look at me bend this. You can't really do this with the other panels. This is, you can drive over it with a car. Waterproof, it's light, it's less than a pound. It snaps all together real nice. Has a carrying case. Back to this, no carrying case, but it does fit in the, if you get the Devos dual light bag, there's a nice little pocket for it. The dark energy has a bag you can put everything in, you know, buy other accessories. They also do have their own battery packs. So battery packs, which I like that. So you can power up, use this and power up a power bank to use at night, you know, later on. So backpackers, people that are out in the wilderness, orange is bright, so you can be found. It also comes in gray, so there's other colors. But this is going to be the priciest of the below 40 watts. This is at $229. So $229. But don't worry, on all these items, I will have links, whichever you want to buy, doesn't bother me. You got a 10% off. So whatever fits your needs, you get 10% off. So I'm not pushing one over the other. I'm just giving you my feedback and, you know, what I think of these and the numbers. So $229, but you still get 10% off if you buy this. And they have a power bank that lasts, I think, like 7 or 9 years, that it'll hold energy. So pretty robust. So let's put that one aside for now. All right, then the NestOut. 28, so 10 more watts, and you saw that this was given about 5 watts. Our dark energy, the orange one, was giving about 9. This one was putting out 11, so a lot more. So that means this will power up that light in maybe 7 hours, so a lot quicker than or 10 or 8 hours, 7-8 hours. It'll power up that light. And this one is actually a really good value. It's 129 bucks, so a little bit more than the Devos here. What I like about it is, look how it folds up nice and compact, like so. So look at that. You know, you can see with the size of my hand. And the other thing too, what I like is they do have their own battery packs, and they're pretty cool looking. They're these, and this is value for this. This is 15,000 milliamp hours. You have a gauge to see if it's full. So in their ecosphere of products, you know, and they have a spot to pack it. They have that. They have, do I have it here? I think I do. They got this cool fan that you can get, and there's a smaller one. These are waterproof, so that's 5,000 milliamp hours. This is 15, and they got a mid-range 10. But this is like, I want to say like 69 bucks for 15,000 milliamp hours. It's a great deal. So I really like this one, and this one was cranking out at what, 13 watts compared to the 5 and the 9. So this one, very awesome with their accessories. I'll have a link for them as well. And then, and again, this battery pack, you could be charging this, so 15,000 milliamp hours through this, you know, solar panel, and very portable. And this is 2 pounds, 3 pounds max. And then this is the much larger. So it's kind of like this panel is how much bigger it is than all of the other ones. And, you know, these guys are known for making power. So 40 watts. Let me, what's the price on this? Yes, I got my little cheat sheet, just so you know. So this one's $129 and you can get 10% off. What I like about this one, so it folds up kind of nice. So it's going to get down to, and it's got little legs, you know, if you're putting it on a picnic table or whatever at camp. And folds up nice. It has, hang on, where is it? On the back, it's got storage, little netting here. And in this storage, you get, at that price, you get all these adapters for all different types of power banks. And you get this. You get, we were using, what cable? We were using a C cable, actually, for powering devices. But you could also power it up to some of the bigger devices. So Anderson connector, what have you. And that's out of the outs. So you see the outs, you get this plug, you get a C, and you get a USB. So lots of options with this, actually, depending on what you're powering up, and a good value. So there you have that. Let's fold it up. There we go. And then last but not least is this one here that I'm going to talk about. My other phone's in the way. The Bugout 130. But again, this is a different category. This, you're powering up a lot more because it's, you know, 10 times plus a lot of these other panels we just looked at, or just over triple the 40 watt. What's interesting about this one is, let's say, let me give you a perfect example. These will all charge devices. You know, you can charge batteries. So it's for phones. It's for low power items. You're not going to use it to power this, for example. This you can, though, at 130 watts. This you can plug into a Jackery, like a 2000 watt or 1100 watt, Blue Eddy or EcoFlow, you know, all the different brands. You can use this solar panel. And if you subscribe, I will be doing a video here in the next week or two comparing this to, and whenever you're watching this video, it might already be done, but I'm going to compare it to a 200 watt Blue Eddy and a EcoFlow and a 400 watt. So I'm going to compare the performance, because this one is using not just mono-crystalline, but the Maxeon Gen 3, the latest, greatest, meaning you can just throw it on the ground and the sun can be here or there, it doesn't matter. It's capturing the rays and doesn't have to be at an exact 90 degree to the sun. So that's pretty cool. But again, to recap on these items, you're looking at anywhere from $99 for the 20 watt to $129, $129, and this one I had to put on the side here. Again, I could just toss it there because this thing is so robust. This one is the priciest at $229 at 18 watts, but it depends. Backpacker, you know, if you can backpack with these other ones too, but then this starts to get, this 40 watt gets a little heavy. It's about 7 or 8 pounds. And this is for if you're going to have it in your car. This is more specific if you've got the Devos, so staying in their ecosphere. And this is for everything. I think this is a good backpack and car, and love this waterproof. Like you can drop this in the water. These caps here, just to show you real quick. So you can charge it, and you can, you know, when you're charging units, the other devices, I should say, with this, you can do 2 at a time. And these screw down and seal so that if you drop this in the river, if you're doing a river crossing, you're going to be safe with that. All right. If you're good and you don't want to know about this, you can stop watching the video now. All the links are below in my description. Each link is saving you 10% off each one of these items and any other items that you find at each specific company's website if you're looking for storage, like this right here. Now this one, let me get out my Jackery, because we're going to be able to rate in a different way, because this thing is a lot stronger. Okay, now to share with you why I have the Bugout 130. This is known to the military. Anybody heavy duty, this is what they're using. Now, it's slightly, well, it's not that it's heavy. It's maybe 7 pounds, so it's not so bad. It's almost the weight, a little heavier than that the SunJack. But earlier, you know, I was alluding to, these are great. You know, all these different items here are great for powering up accessories. Your phone. When you have a fridge, you want something like this, right? So like a Jackery, a Blue Eddy, an EcoFlow. I have a few. So 2000 means this is about 2000 watts, right? So this is going to give you a lot of power. This is going to power you for days out there. Now you can see I've got the USB A and C, so you can charge multiple lights at a time with this. So this is pretty heavy duty, and you want to have a 200 watt, because that means at full power it's going to take you 10 hours to charge this big bad boy, giving you tons of power, tons and tons of power. So a Bugout 130, this can charge it, you know, at max at about 130, you know, watts, you know, somewhere between 80, 130, depending on the skies, if it's cloudy or not. And you can charge this with this, preferably a 200 or a 400. A 400 watt will charge this in like, you know, 6 hours. So pretty easy to do in an afternoon. But this is why I like this. Let me give you a case scenario. You are with the family, you are camping, you're enjoying the day, you're camping. Someone leaves a door ajar, or leaves something where it drains the battery overnight. And you know those little jumper packs? I've had it where if the battery is so low, that jumper pack ain't worth anything. It's not gonna jump your car. You need to have your power at a certain level. So, solar panel, just like these, just bigger. But this one is heavy duty, and this is using the Maxeon Gen 3. So check it out. Opens up like a nice accordion. So what I would do is lay it on the ground like so, and this can be at any angle. If it's 5 o'clock sun, you don't have to angle it to the sun. That's the benefit of the Maxeon Gen 3. And then check it out with this plug. I'm going to plug it in. Attempt to plug it in one-handed, maybe not. There we go. So I'm getting full sun on it, and the beauty is I'm taking a battery, this battery I had in my garage, and I know it's not full and it's pretty much near dead, or maybe halfway, but check it out. This is something you get in addition to the solar panel. Look at that, 12.8 volts and 5.6 amps. And this is an AGM, so you can choose, you know, if you're doing a gel, AGM, or life, lithium. So look at that. This, in that scenario I just painted for you, you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, car won't start, jumper pack won't start it, no one else is around with jumper cables to help you. You would basically use your solar panel as a trickle charger. The amps is what's key here. So this is hungry for amps. The volts 12.7, that's regulating it. This is going to get you out of a jam. This is heavy duty. So any vehicle that's powered by, you know, 12 volt battery system, you would want this in your arsenal. Now, this is heavy duty. Again, it's not just any solar panels. This is, you know, weatherproof, the whole 9 yards. This is not given away for free. These are $5.95. So I'll have a link below. But this is, again, you realize on a Monday morning when you finally get out of your pickle that, yeah, you needed this after you pay for a $1,500 tow in the middle of nowhere. So not only can this do what all other solar panels can do, it's got better panels for maximizing the power of the sun, even on a cloudy day. It's got, you know, obviously this setup where you can connect it to a battery and treat it as a trickle charger. The sun, or a little better than a trickle charger actually. The sun is going to power up your battery where you can then, you know, do it for a couple hours and then jump it. Then your jumper pack will work once there is at least enough juice for the battery to react, or just juice it up all the way and then you're good to go and get out of whatever situation you're in. So that's the Bugout. It's made in the US. All other panels, I must admit, these are all made in China. This is made in the US. Again, Gen 3 Maxeon mono-crystalline panels. And these are flexible, and I love that multicam. So that's brand new. They have it like in like a coyote brown, the original. They have it in white multicam. This is the multicam here. I have one of my Zargus cases done in it. So that's the multicam for the Bugout 130. So that's obviously a lot more than the ones we were just looking at for 129. But again, day trip, hiking, a couple of these are really good for that. This one might be too heavy for hiking. These ones are great. And, you know, the Devos one, of course. These are all good. These are all good items that don't break the bank and a must-have in any overlander, off-road camper, hiker's gear. This is, if you really want to be off-grid and you want to protect yourself and you have a vehicle, then you could have battery issues. This is going to cover all bases and get you out of trouble. All right. Well, I'll have a standalone video on this alone, and I'll compare it to like a 200 watt Blue Eddy and maybe a 400 watt as well. These are always great. Blue Eddy, Jackery, EcoFlow, you name it. Again, in China, they own the portable power, all special earth metals and the lithium and all that. It's all coming from there, so that's dominated. So at least we have a solar panel that's made here in the USA. So, all right, there we have it. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, and oh yeah, let me see if I'm going to add. I'm going to wait till tomorrow morning, and I'll do a quick update on these as far as how they perform in overcast weather. All right, let's do that, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, I've waited 4 days for overcast morning. And this is Southern California. Sky's not a cloud in the sky. This time of year we usually get overcast. So I'm going to do a dedicated video to all 4 of those portable panels in, you know, a cloudy environment. So as soon as I get one of those days, I will be posting that very soon. So stay tuned, subscribed. For the time being, you know, I will post below those discounts. So all those panels, you can save 10% with the same code. It's CTL for Cruising the Land, the YouTube channel, CTL10 for 10% off. The links will also be there for each one of those. If you like Land Cruisers, I got Otis, Green Machine, there's an 80 series there, there's a diesel here, there's a 73 covered, protected from the California sun. I do sell these too, 140 bucks. Best car cover you're going to get. What I like about them is these are made specifically when you got roof rack and gear up top. So 4Runners, Land Cruisers of all sizes. That's the same cover as this one, covering a 40. Anyhow, I digress. So I got covers too. I'll put a link to my cover video down below in the description. But save 10% on all of those, and that Bugout never goes on sale. They don't do deals on that. That is their price. However, I was able to convince them to give 5%. So that's the best deal going on that one. So 5% off. The code is CTL5, and I will have a link for that as well in the description below. So we'll await a cloudy day. Subscribe so you get notifications too. Hit the bell so that as soon as that video drops, you will be the first to see. All right, thanks for tuning in. Happy trails, and we will see you on the next video.